Well, you may know about our Artful card kits, and this webisode is going to be something a little different. We're going to be doing the Abundant Florals Artful card kit, and let me just show you one of the projects. There you go. So please come play with us. So before we get into the projects, I just want to show you what's in the Artful card kit. This is not a new product, but this is our best selling of the Artful card kits. So what they have, you can kind of see on the packaging, 35 die cut 6 double-sided papers. Also, on the back of the packaging, you have 4 examples of cards that you can create, and I'm going to show you 4 more. So here are the papers, just beautiful. They are double-sided. And as you can see, this has lots. We'll be talking about this particular sheet in a minute. There, and one more. Then also, gorgeous, gorgeous. We also have 2 sets of die cuts. They are different, and some large ones, some that are nested. Just everything going on. So, okay, so that is the tool that we'll be using. And my idea in doing these webisodes is to kind of tell you also how the designing process happens. So I hope that's of interest, and we'll see. So let me know in the comments what you think. And this is the first one, and this is our 5 by 6.5 inch card. Now you'll notice that there is a white border, and what I find is that if there is white in the artwork, having a white border just really supports that, and that just works very nicely. Something else that works nicely is doing the edges with a blender brush and the ink pad. So before we get there, let me show you what paper we used. We used this one. And you can see it's got the stripes along the edge. It's got all of this beautiful artwork. And then on the back side. So what I did is I wanted to take advantage of this, but I also found that if I started my card from here, I kind of didn't have much room. You can kind of see I would have only had a little bit of space, and I wanted to do some different things with it. So I trimmed it starting here and then going over to fit my card. And then I did the inking. So you'll bring in your craft mat, of course, and the paper. It will not be on the card. And this is using concrete, and just simply dipping your blender brush into this and then just going over the edge. And what I love is that it just makes this beautiful edge. In fact, let me show you again what the paper looks like without that edge. So it's fine, I mean, it's beautiful paper, but you can see that that gives kind of a shadow, and it just does a really nice job. Now you can certainly use the paper without doing that edge, but in fact, I've done that on the next card. So we will do this. Now, if you are wise about cutting your paper, this is what was left. So there's a little bit that's used on the inside, but I have enough here that I can make another card. I can make it go vertically, or I can do another horizontal card. So out of your 8.5 by 11 sheets, you can really get 2 cards and have some nice things going on. Now, this is all the die cuts. Every single one of these is die cut. So let me show you the sheet, and that will help. So we've got, sometimes after you colored it, it's a little different to see. So this rectangle has a second one on the inside. I popped that out. And again, I did the inking, so you can see that. So I placed it horizontally. Then I took this one and glued it down vertically. So it just does, I think, a nice layering. Then the Hello Friend, well, that's where this one is. So going horizontally, and it just really fills that oval. And then I took this little one. So this is foam taped and this is foam taped. So there's texture going on. Now that little bow, I just really wanted to have another piece of dimension on it. And this came from the burgundy ribbon set. And you can see all of that. So I used the 1/8 inch ribbon and just zotted that in place. So I was just really happy with all the layering. And sometimes when you see the die cuts like this, you go, wow, how can I use that? And I think layering them is just, kind of an over-the-top thing. Now on the inside, this is where, remember I said that I cut the paper starting right here? Well, this piece that I had left, that is going on the inside of the card. Again, it was inked. The thankful for you was simply just a die cut glued flat. So again, we are having the same colors go from the outside to the inside, but it goes lighter on the front, darker on the back, which I think is always fun. Same little bow, kept everything flat here. And that is the first card. Okay, I hope you like it. Let me know. Okay, on this one, this was an interesting one. So I have cut off a 1 inch from the front of the card. Again, I stayed with the premise that there's white here, so I wanted to have some of the white showing, and I did that. I did not do any inking, but I did have some trouble with this. So let me show you the paper that I used. I used this one. So it's in the package like this. Turned it like this. And you can see that I just cut that piece. I did trim it a little bit closer to the edge, and then I did want those little pretty curlicues to show. So that is the piece. And when I had this, I really wanted to put something in the middle of a greeting. And I have to tell you, I struggled a bit. Now, I did use, these are the 500 greetings dazzles, and there are 3 sheets, and each are in multiple colors. Of course, you can see I used white, but I found when I put the greeting down, you really couldn't see it. So I tried all different dazzles, different things to put there, and I finally just came up with, it just needed to have a background. So a little bit of the brown paper and putting the hello there worked very nicely. And the edges, again, wanting to reproduce that white. And this is the border dazzles, the white ones with the silver foil on the edges, having the edges, the flat area of the dazzle on the outside and the scallop showing on the inside. And again, it just reproduced that white. In addition to that white, also used the white ribbon set to zot that little bow right there. So that was my front of my card. Then on the inside, because you do see it, I wanted to have something else, and so I chose this pink. And the pink comes from the back of this absolutely gorgeous sheet. Now, I wanted to be careful how I cut this out because I wanted to be able to use this elsewhere. So I made sure that when I cut out this piece, I cut it from this upper area, okay? And that way I'm, hopefully smart about doing my designing, that I can maximize my papers because they are so gorgeous, and I wanted to make sure that I use them effectively. So that whole piece is right here, but I still can use that gorgeous piece. Now, again, I've got the dazzles on the edge because I want to duplicate that. Again, no inking, but because when I cut out this piece, so I only went up here, I had this one left. So I used my the 4.5 inch professional scissors. They look like this. What I love about them is it makes it really easy to go into these areas. And I did just cut right along the edge of the blossom. So that made it easy. And it also gave me the continuity from the front of my card, which is dark but has those flowers, to the inside, which is light, but it also has one of the flowers. So it's a very different look. This is really fun. This is on a different paper. It is green on one side, but look at what it has on the other. And that is just fun. So I did the thank you for being my friend, simply cut it out and glued it right here. Again, these are all flat. This is a sheer ribbon, just a knot of it, and zotted it here. Also notice that I put the dazzles down first and let this flower go over the dazzle right toward the fold of the card. And I kind of stack these in 3. You always want to have an uneven number when you're working, when you're designing, and so that worked very nicely. So it's a simple looking card, but you know, you got to think through these things, and it works very, very well. So now let's go to our next card. And here it is. And again, this is a lighter card. So I kind of went light, dark, so you'll see. And this, I did go back to the inking. And this is using, again, these are all the 5 by 6.5 inch cards, because I love that, because you get the envelopes. And I prefer to having a larger surface. I know some people use an A2 size, which is like 4 1/4 by 5. But I like to have the larger surface. Number one, it really works well with beautiful papers, but it also gives me, I feel like, a more of a creative space. So that works for me. Now here, this is the paper, and I have chosen to use, starting from the top of it, just this part, okay? So I will have quite a bit left over, which is certainly the goal. Now, in doing this, I did go over the edge, and this time I used the Dove Gray, and you can see kind of right here, it's a very soft, light gray, and I thought that worked nicely with the light colors of this paper. Now, I also have found that when you are using light colors, that these dazzles work especially well. In fact, they have been hugely popular, and that's very nice. And see, these are the ones I used. And this is out of the wide straight line clear glitter dazzles. So there's 2 in the sheet. One has gold foiling, the other has silver. So this is glitter, and it is transparent. So you can see what it does as I wiggle this. You can see the glitter look. Thank you, Jeanette. How pretty that is against the light color. Then I also supported it with a thin line dazzle at the top and at the bottom. So that's what I did. So the straight line glitter is right on the edge, right to left, and it's just inside it, top and bottom, so I could add that thin line dazzle. And as you probably know, the thin line dazzles, there are, I think there's 32 on the sheet. You can see these are the ones that I used, and all kinds of designs. So that worked nicely. Now, going into my die cuts, and I'm just really a believer in using the products that come in the package, and so you can see that's how I've done it. Now, there are a few pieces in here that have no words on them. This is one of them. So you can see where I used it here. And then You're the Best, well, that was on the inside of that rectangle that we used on the very first card. And so that's right there. Now I wanted to add a different element. So I went into our flowers, and this is the Kismet from 49 and Market. And I just placed, dotted 3 of them there and added some of the leaves. The leaves are part of the package. And before I did that, again, to have a little bit of the glitter in this, in fact, let me show you. We can get in close to that. This ribbon has glitter in it. You can see it. And it is part of the white ribbon set. So I'm not sure if you can see it in the package, but it's there. And it just is I just cut the piece and folded it and zotted it down and then add the flowers on top of it. So I like the fact that this dark piece really lets this show up. This is foam tape, this is glued down, and the purple is going along with the flowers that are in there. Okay, and again, I've got the white border and did the inking. Okay, now on the inside of my card, okay, something else is going on. And with this, I have used the back side of the sheet of this sheet. This is the one that we used in the last card, so you know, kind of everything goes together. Well, this is the rest of the sheet. So I took a piece of this, and I'm going to actually use this in the next card too, and glued it down. By the way, I did write instructions. They are down below, and you can just click on any of the cards and see what that is. I did ink this, and with this, I believe I went back to the concrete because this is a darker paper, so that Dove Gray isn't going to really be enough to show. So the concrete with the blending brush, that worked nicely. So you can see that I placed those straight line glitter dazzles just right along the edge, but I did do the thin line dazzles at the top, just inside the score line and inside the bottom of the card. Now, these are two of the die cuts, and this time you can see that I inked it. So let me find, here's the die cut. So there it is as it comes, and there it is inked. And I think that just shows you there's just a couple of ways to do this, and I think that's really, really nice. Now, this circle, that is right here. I also inked it. So I've got two shapes. I've got a circle and an oval, a square, and a rectangle. So all of that's going on. These are just glued down flat. I did make a white bow, and I did orient it so that it doesn't cover up any of the words. So it kind of hugs the blessing and the two, and that's what I wanted to do. Okay, and notice there is room to write. Sometimes that is an issue. You just want to write your name, but if you want to do more, you've got the top and the bottom. You certainly have the inside front of the card too, so that works. Again, we have the light on the front. We have a darker on the inside, and I think that just works very, very nicely. Okay, now one more card. Let me bring this in, and this card is using that same paper that we just used. One other thing I wanted to share with you with this one. So after I did my cutting, remember this goes this way, I still have all of this left. And I've got this darker on the inside, on the back, but I can do a horizontal card, and I've got extra pieces, so that, that was really fun. You just don't, you can haphazardly cut these, but if you do a little thought, you can really maximize your paper choice and your investment in this, which isn't a huge investment, but really fun. Now, this card, again, we're 5 by 6.5, and in this one, I wanted to take advantage of this, these musical notes. So we all seem to have our favorite adhesives. I am a glue stick gal. And especially in designing, what I like about that is I can move things because sometimes you have to take things apart. So that's just what I use. So I did cut this to be 5 by 6.5 inches. I didn't glue it down right away because I wanted to go in and do the inking. So I did take care of that. And in this case, I use the concrete again. It is a little bit darker, and it will go on a darker paper. Okay, now, so I've got that, and so I've got a nice background. It's not like the others that were really taking advantage of the artwork. This is a really nice background that's got a bit of the music notes and allows me to do a little bit of a different technique on the front. But I really wanted to maximize those die cuts again. So I took this one, which is a frame, didn't use this, and glued it down flat. Then this one, which is right here, the oval is a separate die from the frame. So I put the frame down and glued it, and then I foam taped the center, and that way it lifted it. And so that worked nicely for me. I was pleased with that. I also took this long border and cut a couple of pieces, and then I trimmed the ends in a V shape, and one here and one up here, so that's a nice balance. So I've got horizontal things, but then I also have a big cluster in the center. I wanted to bring a vertical in. So I used the ivory ribbon, and you can see I used the dot, which is about 1 inch wide. So it's a really substantial statement. And tuck that, I glued it behind the paper. Then I glued the paper to the front of the card. So that worked nicely. A great big ribbon. Very often, in fact, you've seen this a couple of times as I've done this, I've done my ribbons horizontally, and very often we only think of ribbons being at the top or maybe at the bottom, but I love the horizontal. And again, with this being a dot, you can see through it, but I was also careful how I placed it. The other thing you can do is you can put some zots under, in fact, I did that here, under the tail, so that the ribbon tail is going to be where you want it and not interfere with the art that's going on. Now for the inside of my card, I took a strip of the green and just put it there. I did ink it. Now remember this border that I talked about, that I did these 2 pieces? Well, I had a bunch left, so I really wanted to use it. It wasn't enough to go end to end, but I did 2 more V's and just placed it there. Now, for this grouping, you'll notice again it's an uneven number, it's 3. The happy birthday is obviously going to be one of the die cuts, and you can see it right there. Then I went back to the back of that green sheet, in fact, here it is, and I trimmed out this one. And when you have a square and you turn it on point, you have a diamond. So that was glued down. And then there are a few of these little guys in the die cuts. In fact, there's one there, there's some corners, it's an oval, and I simply foam taped that right down. And again, a bow, because this is kind of a tag, so that bow worked nicely. Again, I kept it away from the words. And you do have room to write. You can write up here, you can certainly write up here, as this does a nice spread. So again, I have very horizontal, 1 vertical, but here I have vertical and horizontal too, keeping in mind the uneven numbers. Okay, I know that's a little different, but I thought it would be fun to talk about the designing of the cards, and that's my intent to do on the webisodes that I designed for you. So what we have is our Artful card kit, and bring it back in all together. So I've done 4 cards. I had papers left over. In fact, you saw them with each one. In fact, every single card I could have done, with the papers, I could have done another card and probably even a 3rd one. And the die cuts, yes, I've got tons of them left over, because with 35, you've got a lot, even though I really splurged. Like here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this card, but you know, you can put as few or as many as you want. And when I come into something like this, I've got 2, 4 on this. I guess I was die cut happy, but that's one of the things that makes the Artful card kit so special. So that's what we have for you. There is a money saver. Collected many of the things that I used in these cards, put them in a money saver on the right side of your screen, give you a little discount for those too. And as I said, the instructions are down below. Just click on the card, you will see it. And so with these 4, you've got these 4, you've got 8, and plus there are more on our website under Abundant Floral's Artful Card Kit. So if you are watching this on YouTube, hope you're going to head on over to Paper Wishes and take advantage of that money saver, look at the instructions, and see what you would like to have in your creative stash. I want to thank you for joining us and for, as always, being the very best part of Paper Wishes. We'll see you next time.